In this video, we're going to talk about the top 5 things you can do to your property to really drive the return on investment for the money you're spending. All 5 tips are going to be for the exterior, and I'm going to throw in a bonus tip. And we'll be getting this advice from one of the top guys in the business. It's a little secret you're going to see. Stick around. Let's go! For this advice, I wanted to call up Jason Schaller, who's the founder and principal of the Schaller Group, which is a design, construction, and creative agency based right here in Florida. This dude is a baller. He's also a partner with Peacock Capital, which is one of the most active investors in the state of Florida. They've picked up 33 apartment complexes in just the last 3 to 5 years. And they have a number of deals under contract and several more that are going to be in the development phase here soon. Now, prior to that, he was the VP and managing director of McKinley, which is only a little $4.5 billion real estate company where he oversaw all kinds of construction, renovations, marketing, you name it. Working for McKinley for 18 years and being responsible for operations on 12,000 units, 16 million square feet of commercial, you kind of learn a thing or two. Take a look at him down in the description. I got all kinds of links to check out more about Jason, but let's jump into these top 5. Jason, welcome, brother. I'm so happy to have you on. I know you've done hundreds of millions of dollars in renovations, tons of projects. You're not just in design and construction. You're also an investor yourself. You got a band. You're like the social media god. I look up to you.
Oh, come on, man.
I've seen a bunch of really cool projects that you've done, particularly with Peacock Capital. Tell me, what are your top 5 things that you do that you've seen for the best ROI, if you will, on the renovation side? What's your first one?
Yeah, thanks, man. And thanks for having me. Seriously, it's always great doing business with you, but to do this is really cool. This is stuff I'm passionate about for sure. So I would say number 1 on my list, and I just go for it, is I like to give a building a new paint job if I can. But if you're not going to paint for whatever reason, because it's a newer paint job and you like it, at least pressure clean it and clean the building up. Make it look brand new, man.
How do you choose colors?
Yeah, so with Peacock Capital, we've come up with a whole paint scheme that we use on every one of our buildings, and it helps us to brand our buildings. So as we grow and we grow our portfolio, you'll start seeing that every single one of our buildings are going to have the same paint colors, maybe a slight variation in the door color, but for the most part, they're all going to look the same. So the second you pull onto that property, you know that it's one of our buildings.
Yeah, I like that. And would you suggest that for other companies too, in order to build their brand, is to kind of come up with a scheme? Like I know some companies that everything they do has a red door, period. At least you know that red door is that company.
I like that. I like that when you're building a team, when you're building a management team, if you're selling apartments, if you're trying to build your brand and focus on what you do in the industry and what you do with your assets and your investments and to the outside world, especially the resident, because that's the most important thing. Having an identifiable feature or look is extremely helpful, for sure.
And how do you choose the painter? Is that someone who's been running around with you on different jobs everywhere? Is it a different group every time?
I've got some days it's 100 guys. Today it's probably 50 guys out there painting buildings.
Wow.
We're painting a ton of our buildings in Ocala right now. We're getting ready to paint some buildings in Gainesville. I've got stuff painting in Orlando. I've got client stuff here over in Tampa, St. Pete, that's being painted right now. So, I mean, it's all over the place, but I've got a dedicated bunch of guys. And then I've got a really fabulous relationship that I've kept for years and years that goes all the way back to my corporate years when I started working with these guys with Sherwin-Williams. So I've got my own page with Sherwin-Williams. I've got my own account there. I run everything through them. So I've got kind of a thing and a look going for me. But what you said earlier about focusing on like a theme or trying to focus on history of the building or the area and things like that, I'm always looking for that because I think it's important to tell that story when you're fixing up a building.
All right, number 2, brother.
You got to trim the trees and you got to fix the landscaping. 100% everything I'm going to say right now, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm really going to stick to everything on the outside of the building because you're only going to meet half the residents that you come into contact with, because the second they pull up in front of the property, and you never know when they're going to come by. If it looks like crap on the outside of your building, they're probably never going to call you, and they're never going to show up and come in. It doesn't matter how beautiful you make that apartment on the inside and all those pictures you post and bragging about how great it looks on the inside. If it doesn't look good and if it's not warm and inviting on the outside, and if you got trees hanging all over the building, if the landscaping looks dead and like crap and you've not fixed the lawn and you just look like you don't care, you're not going to maximize your rent. You're not going to get your ROI.
I tell you what, man, it's like the dating scene. I've got a couple single friends, it's like people just swipe. All right. People are going to swipe past.
Yeah.
They don't care about your inside initially.
No, exactly. It's all about outside appearance. It really is. It's the power of a first impression. And I've got a really good friend, Mary Williams, that's her business that she does is this. And it's about everything, right? When you get up and go to work every day, your whole brand, everything you're doing is all about a first impression. So your building has to have a first impression too.
Are there certain, without getting into too much detail, are there certain trees or shrubs that you go for that maybe last longer, that maybe give more beautification? And how high up do you probably bring up some of the canopies on trees too, so it lifts things up? How high up do you go?
Yeah, usually, like a standard trim, they're going to go about 15 feet, but you got these giant oak trees that are beautiful in the state of Florida. And you've got, the Spanish moss hanging off of them and stuff, which actually people think, oh, it's killing the tree. It doesn't. They live together. They love each other. They help each other. As far as plantings go, I try to keep things pretty simple, honestly, as well. I'm not a big annuals guy planting a bunch of pretty flowers that you got to change every time. I try to make it nice and clean and simple and low maintenance. So in Florida, podocarpus, jasmine, mondo grass, stuff like that is all stuff that's very hardy that grows once you get it set up. And then hardscapes too. Put stone. Sometimes I put some shell. Mulch washes out all over the place, although it's helpful for the plants when you first put it down. But nice and clean and simple, man. You don't have to go too crazy. Number 3, man, you got to light it up. Our motto when we take over a building is it's got to look like Disney World, man. There's a reason people feel safe and love going there, right? And I'll tell you what, especially this time of year, you got to think like the customer. You got to think about your residents, and they're getting off of work at 5, 6 o'clock and it's dark already. And if they're coming out to check it out, you got a meeting with them the next morning to look at the apartment, and they drive by and that place is dark, and they can't see where they're walking at night. See you later. They're not going to rent from you.
So you'll update the lights then that are by the front doors. You'll make sure that the utility lights are operable, and you'll make the utility company come out if you need to. You may add pole lights in areas that might be darker. Okay.
We'll add a ton of lights. Residents hate to turn on their porch lights too. So the first thing I'll do, I'll go in and I'll wire those suckers up so that they come on a timer or they come on a photocell.
Gotcha.
LED lights cost nothing to run these days. And the price you'll pay for somebody's safety and comfort at night is an endless return on your investment for that.
What about any uplighting on landscaping? Do you ever do any of that?
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Uplighting on landscaping, uplighting on the building, anything you can do so that your building looks just as pretty at night as it does during the day, for sure.
And I'm sure you've got your entry sign lit up like a Christmas tree too. I mean, just
which if I may is my segue into my number 4. The sign, man. Yeah. So I see this all the time. People go in, the classic first-time investor apartment person, let's fix up the interiors. They spend all their money on the interior apartments. They don't clean up the outside of the building. They don't paint. And that stupid sign that's been out there forever, where they're too lazy to think about coming up with a new name. They don't change the name. Everything's fine. And it looks like crap and it sits in front of their building. Fix it, man. Fix it. It's not that
again.
You can go crazy and spend a lot of money, or you can literally go to Kinko's and have them print a board that looks better with a new logo on it and a name.
Yeah.
Just fix it, man. Yeah.
Again, it's like the dating thing, it's like showing up in a 3-piece suit and you didn't even comb your hair. It's like the first thing you're seeing.
If I were single, and thankfully I'm not, I would be out on the scene. I would not be wearing sweatpants to go on a first date. Okay?
All right. What's your number 5?
Number 5, I'm not even going to talk about the actual property, physical property itself, but I am going to talk about your investment on the property and what you can do to the outside world. We live in a world where apartment investments are multi-million-dollar businesses. Every restaurant that you go to has a Yelp review, has Google reviews, has photos online. They have Instagram pages. They have an outward appearance. They have a website. People are active. People interact with people like that. What I don't understand is when apartment owners do not embrace that with their apartment buildings. They don't do a social media account for their apartment building. They don't put up a Google business page where if somebody drives by and sees the name of the building and they look it up, it takes them directly to where they can lease and see pictures and interior photos, exterior photos, contact information, all that stuff. So the curb appeal is just as important these days, where everybody lives and spends most of their time, which is on their phone and computers and their iPads, staring at their phones. You got to have that looking good as well. Can I throw in just one last bonus?
Bonus, brother.
Don't worry about the interiors as much. Clean them. make sure they're spotless clean. It can be old. It can have the old mauve tile or whatever it is. And in some ways that's coming back in style. But if you can't spend the money on the interior, but you can make it a drastic impression on the exterior, which is going to help you improve the whole neighborhood, focus on that. But you better get in there and scrub the hell out of the inside of the apartment. Make sure that when that new resident comes in to open the door, it's clean, man. It looks clean and perfect.
Yeah, I think people want to be proud of where they live. And even if it's just an exterior update, when you tell your friend, hey, I live at so-and-so apartments, that person is probably driven by there and from the exterior seeing, oh yeah, that's a gorgeous place. And then when you're clean on the inside, it doesn't even have to be to the nines. When you're clean, it sort of backs that up.
You got it, man. But yes, man, keep it clean. And guess what? If you fix up your building, I assure you, the neighbors are going to start mowing their lawn, raking the leaves, trimming their trees, painting their house. The business next door is going to fix it up. I've just seen it, man. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Roll up your sleeves and get to work. Yeah.
Jason, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for sharing your wisdom. And I'll probably have to call you on another video to pick your brain some more, brother.
I would love to, man. Let's do more of this.
You got it. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Beau.
I told you this dude knows what he's talking about. We're definitely going to have to bring him on for some extra advice. I'm glad you stuck around. I hope this video had some value. And if it did, please give me a like down below. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're aware of my videos each week. See you guys on the next one.